Before we begin our today's section, I would like to invite everyone to listen attentively because today is one of our most honorable day because we have the opportunity to invite one of our guest speakers. His name is Professor陳文團. He's Professor Emeritus of National Taiwan, and currently he accepts the role as Chair Professor and Dean College of Theology, Jiangjun Christian University in Taoyuan, Tainan is south of Taiwan. And he came, I recently talked to him and he told me that he left Vietnam when he was 17 years old. And then, so most of his life is lived in Taiwan, so about 38 years. And he came to Taiwan in 1979. And his purpose and his intention came to Taiwan at that time was with the intention of doing philosophy research. So in today, our section, we will hear a lot about theological and philosophy ideas so that we'll arouse our minds to understand what is the meaning of Catholic family. And then he came to Taiwan with this intention of doing the philosophy research, especially Asian philosophy, Chinese philosophy, and Vietnamese philosophy. And his interesting focus is how to search the Viet idea, so the Viet philosophy. So it's very much in heavy work that he wants to achieve. And his writing have won many valuable literary awards from European, Asia, and international literature journal society. So as an emeritus professor, he have a deep compassion. How to develop education in Asian philosophy, especially for the Vietnamese philosophy. So now it's my honor to welcome Professor Doan. So please join me to have a warm welcome and welcome him to be with us today. Thank you, Professor.
Đừng nói cho nó rồi ha. Có thể cho cái nội dung cái bài này. Thank you very much, Madam Wendy Louise, and thank you, Father Chung, to have invited me for sharing my view with you. It's a great honor to me to be a layman and not a Jesuit or a cardinal to speak to you. So maybe we have a more common experience more than the priest or the high priest as a cardinal, right? Okay, the topic of mine today is about the joy of love. That's a reflection on the Papal encyclical Amoris Laetitia, or the joy of love. In this, I want to prove that the crisis of love comes not suddenly. That's not the product of our age today, of the postmodern age, but a long crisis born in the modernity. When we try to make marriage or family as an instrument and not our life. So when we return back in the second part, talking about the joy of love, I try to prove the main idea of the Pope is coincidental to our East Asian view, that family, that marriage is not an instrument, but rather that is our life. So that is the two part. Now, for the first part, as suggested by Wendy, I'm talking about the crisis of love. I begin with the beginning of modern thinking, the rational thinking, when they try to downgrade life and to take the instrument to be the main purpose of life. So to that, I just try to put two questions. Maybe you are already familiar with. The first question Jesus asked Peter after his resurrection, before his ascension to heaven. When Jesus asked Peter, do you love me? Do you love me more than the other here? And this is the same question put by a man, a married man, to his wife after 20 years of marriage. Do you love me? That is a movie, The Feeding on the Roof. Maybe you are familiar with. And now just we watch a little bit on the first answer of the man, of the wife of the man, the feeding on the roof, and the answer of Peter. And then I will try to analyze these two different questions to solve. There's a tendency to treat marriage, or treat family, or treat love as just instrument. That is the beginning of the crisis. This is a short of divorce, of the end of traditional marriage. Okay, we take a look at this.
Love. Golden, do you love me?
Do I what?
Do you love me?
Do I love you?
Well,
With our daughters getting married and there's trouble in the town, you're upset, you're worn out. Go inside, go lie down. Maybe it's indigestion.
no, Golden, I'm asking you a question. Do you love me?
You're a fool.
I know. But do you love me?
Do I love you?
Well,
For 25 years I've washed your clothes, cooked your meals, cleaned your house, given you children, milked your cow. After 25 years, why talk about love right now?
Golden, the first time I met you was on our wedding day. I was scared.
I was shy.
I was nervous.
So we return back. As a man sitting up to 25 years, asked his wife, do you love me? She was surprised. She thinks that the man must be crazy. You are fool. That was the first reaction, you know. Why is this question? Why ask me, do I love you? But when the man insists asking again and again, yes, but do you love me? Then she answers in the instrumental way. I give birth to your son, your children. Just like a machine, we can have any people come here to give birth to our children. We can pay for that, right? I wash your clothes. I milk your cow. I work for you. I cook your meal. On this kind of answer, this is typical functional, or I mean instrumental. You are my wife, you are washing my clothes. You are my husband, you are making money for me. You are my wife because you give me my children. Okay, if you continue to look at the answer, you will find the stereotypical answer that our partner exactly an instrument for some purpose. And this purpose is not ultimate purpose, not vital. That's just something technical. Because I just said, we can rent some woman to give birth to my child. I can pay for the maiden to wash my clothes. And if I'm rich, I can get the best cooker to cook for me, the chief cook for me. And is love for that? So when we think of that, we are wonderful. But that is a long tradition now when we define our partner in terms of this functional or instrument. But if we think over, then we find that it's not, because that is not love. You know. Now the second question is posed by Peter. After the breakfast, suddenly Jesus asked Peter, do you love me more than these, or the disciple? Peter was very surprised too. And he says, yes, sir, my Lord, you know that I love you. That's not the question, and not the answer. That's not the answer. Because it repeats the same. Do you love me? Yes, I love her. But love for what? What is love? We don't know. But it's very interesting. The term love in Greek different. Jesus asks in terms of agape, love. Peter answers in terms of phileo. It's not like love, but not the same meaning. I will try to explain that, but we come to the second. Then Jesus asks again, do you love me? And Peter suddenly thinks of what he has done to his master. He denies the master 3 times in the evening before the death of Christ. He denied. He denied what? And he a little bit sad. He answered, yes, you know, I love you. The same. For a while, Christ asked again, do you love me? And this time, Peter is very unhappy. He's very sad. He says, you know that I am love you. So we return to, I just said that's no answer at all. This is a confirm of what? So I try to explain the difference of 2 answers. The first answer of the woman to his husband, to his man. The second, in Peter, 2 different, the same answer of 2 different meaning. The first, I just said, just an instrumental. On that, what we have understood, love. Love in terms of instrument, of function, of a tool, of an effective tool to our life. But this is not love, I just said. Now comes the second, when Jesus asks, do you love me in agape? This is a pure love, no interest. Peter had love of Christ because he thinks that Christ is a king, is empowered. Then, if he loves Jesus Christ, he could gain some power, so he can be rich, so will be recognized. Okay, that's not love. That's not pure love. That's a love for some interest. That's not Christ himself. But because of power, because of wealth, because of all the conditions and interests. So that is the reason Jesus asked again. Peter did not understand. He did not understand. No one can understand that. Not because Peter is not clever, but because we never think of a pure love. We often think love in terms of just of interest. I love her because she's beauty. I love her because she's intelligent. I love her because she will work for me. She will cook for me. She will give me the children because of this, because of that. That's the kind of love of interest. And often material interest. So if you ask again, if what happened to me when I can no longer make money for you, if it happened to me, if you are growing on and no longer beauty, you can no longer cook. You cannot do what I expect. The answer to that you know already. The sociologists, the statistics have shown on and in divorce. So the same we return to Peter. He had taught love in this term. So he answered to the Christ, yes, you know I love you because you are God. Because you are the Messiah. Because just his mother took him and his brother and asked Jesus, to give him the best position in heaven, in the kingdom of God. So he loved God for that. So that's when we turn back, it's the evening when Jesus Christ was arrested, brought before the tribunal, and that's ended. Christ has no power. I get nothing from him, so I deny him. No, the similarity between modern marriage and the same question, the same answer of Peter. That is the reason why Christ asked again the second time, do you love me? Not filial, not of interest, but a pure love. This is no interest. So many times when Christ affirmed that his kingdom is not in the earth, that he has no power here, or he has no interest in power. But this not understand. No one can understand. We love God because of this, because of that, because we got from this, because of that from God, because of, and so on. So that's the kind of love. So the second time, Christ asked again for Peter, well, do you love me? He didn't understand. But the third time, he did understand. The third time, Peter got the message of Christ. Yes, you know. Then you know. And Christ is fighting me. Then tend my lamb. Then feed my shepherd. Then protect my shepherd. Then continue that. What this mean? Then you are understanding that I am life. I give you life. And love means living, means life. Eternal life. So he understood that. He took, and he did this wonderful. He died just as Christ. He was crucified for the love of Christ, with no material interest, no earth interest. That's the kind of love. So now we return back to the quiet, and I return back to the main theme in the first part. I try to analyze this until to know in many countries, especially the Western country from the modernity, we have understood love. And even humans' most basic relationship, and even our life in terms of wealth, in terms of power, in terms of instrument, in terms of this, of that. And that's come from the Western modernity tradition. So I will return back to this point, but I come to the topic of Amoris Laetitia, of the joy of love. When the Pope convoked the synod for the laymen, to discuss on the problem of family, of marriage, and what happened there. In the last 30 years, and maybe more, up there, we experienced a very clever crisis of family, of marriage. The rate of divorcing is up. Every 3 couples, married couple, 1 couple end in divorce. And now in Taiwan the same, just like the West. Every 3 couples, married couple, 1 in divorce. 30%, 33% and more. And now the more crowds. There's no more marriage. Many people don't want to marry anymore. They can cohabitate, live together, but they don't want to go to have a final vow to be together forever. To try to change on what happened there. And the third one, though, is not only that we suddenly experience a new catastrophe. I mean catastrophe. The marriage of the homosexual people. And legalized. In many countries now, the homosexuality marriage is legalized, it's legal. And maybe it's a fall, it's worse. Maybe we expect as a people in the future that men and women, yes, they can, they have no need of sexual union at all, because we can choose some robot. It can choose a doll. The robot is a partner. The vision that one married to a robot made by Hollywood is no longer, not far from now. It will happen. Then we experience that this catastrophe is coming, and how to solve the problem. On that, I think that is the main idea of the joy of love written by Pope. So he asked us from our culture to contribute our view to solve this crisis. So I think that we return back to your love with me. If we continue to think love in terms of instrument, then marriage to a robot, marriage to a Doan is perfectly rational, because it's it helps us to attain our purpose. We need something to satisfy our need. We need someone to take care of us for a moment, and so on. So now we come to the main point of the first part. The twist, between the purpose of love. The first question you may ask me is, what is rational? What is the main character of modernity? The modern man is a rational man, in the sense that we choose the best means to attain what we want, the purpose. If you want to become rich, then this way of making money is the best way, then this is rational. So the point here, the purpose. For the industry, the modern society, then the purpose of life is no longer life, but money, but wealth. You know, that is power in politics, that's wealth in economics, and so on. Or suddenly we find that we have a new purpose here, replacing the own purpose of our life. Life is a purpose, but no, life is no more important. The most important is to make money, to get power. The modernity begins with the idea that the power is the ultimate purpose of humanity, for example, of Machiavelli, with the idea of wealth as the last purpose of humanity, made by classical economists like Ricardo Schmidt and Malthus. These are economists. So what is left? So if we say the purpose of life is wealth, then the most important of our activity is how to get money. And you know it very well, in the classical economy, there are only two ways. To spend less, then you get more money, or to spend more and more production, and you get more money. The two ways, the liberal and the conservative. But you don't find the factor of life here. It's excluded. So they begin to use this, or to take the idea in the actuality of life. For example, is the industrialization, you treat the life or people just like instrument. I will do this for that because I can get more money. So they reduce the fee, they reduce the service in order to have money. Men or women become just an instrument for the machine, for money making. The second, works. Human life is worthless. And suddenly human eye become a commodity. Something we can sell, we can buy. We downgrade the human eye to the rank of a things, of a commodity. And we calculate it, yes, if I employ you and have pay you for that, and how much money I can get from you. If not, I can send you to the other one to get more money. So now today is the arts world or in the sport world, just show the athlete, just show the football star to the other club to get more money. Not because this man is a man, but because he's a making money thing or making money machine. So this idea comes from just from modern time, from modernity. So I have more time to put another movie here, but you still remember one movie of Charlie Chaplin, Modern Time, when the laborer, the factor in factory workers, the worker, are just like a machine, are treated like a machine, are treated like a thing. And that is what we found from the idea of modernity. But that's also the point I want to discuss here. But I want to introduce that this is not only industry or in market. This is they introduce into family life. So we return back to the feet on the roof. The woman at that time think in terms that I'm an instrument, a very good instrument for you. I am still useful for you. So love me, you love me because I am useful. Utilitarianism, the point made by philosophers of modern time, of Bentham, and of Miller. This is a philosopher. Yes. No, I just said, if in our love, we treat your partner just as an instrument, and that is a product of modernity, of time. If so, we come to the third consequence. I just said, if this instrument no longer useful, loses its own function, just like if my wife is becoming no more beauty, and she can no longer cook, she can no longer give birth to my children, what happened? Or in reverse, what happened to the woman when her husband paralyzed or wounded or something like that happened to him? The question is that, so when the man asks, you love me, see, he wants to return back to very interesting theme, tradition. He wants to keep the tradition. The tradition love is not biased, but are arranged. But arranged because the people find that is true, maybe have the similarity, because the two share the same vision, because they have the same background, and so on. Tradition, and anti-modernity. The man is anti-modernity, is the same. Okay, so just as the idea when you look back, when you watch the movie as a fiddler or on the roof. But anyway, my main purpose is not to analyze the film, but to say that that is why we understand, and you can now understand why there's a crisis of marriage. The first I just said is the second part, because the twist of purpose. When we make instrument to be our main purpose, and we forget the true purpose is human life. That is the point. The second, I think that's a mistake of romantic love and true love. Often we said, oh, that is the story of written by Shakespeare, the story of Romeo and Juliet is very romantic. and just die of love. And they sacrifice for love. That's only an illusion. Biblical life cannot end in one self-suicide. The death of life, that is also the death of love. We cannot say we die for love, except if there is something behind love. Christ is died. But behind his death is a resurrection, a new life. And we love him for that. But we love that with his death, that's the end. Then that's also the end of our love to God. There's different here. And St. Paul is absolutely right in the sense, if God is not resurrected, then we have no more belief in him. We cannot. We believe in him because he gave us our new life. So I just, the illusion made by movie, but also that's a counter-attack against modernity. They try to save some rest, but they are going too far, too extravagant, to put love as the last purpose. Love is not the last purpose, because no one understands love. No one. I just said, and I affirm that. No one of us here understands love at all. Of course, including me, no one. Because just think, who among us can give us one definition what is love? No one. So we return back to the answer of Peter. I love you is not the answer because he did not understand love. And Jesus repeat again, do you love me? Because the love is not to be defined. If you define instead of instrument, you will downgrading love into instrument rank. If you elevating love to the rank of ideal, that is illusion, because it's not so. Love can be found only in every day, in our act of relation, the act of caring, the act of trusting, the act of giving, the act of receiving, the act of hearing, of tolerating, of all kind of different acts. Only in this you may have some idea of what is love. So you feel that. But if you define in single term of in single factor, then it's not love. Just I mentioned so. So it comes the second point. I think that it's a modernity. We have a two tendency. The first tendency is to reduce love into an instrument. The second tendency is to elevate it to a high rank that we can never attain, and that no thing to do with our actual life. This is the story, for example, of Romeo and Juliet. No one argue that because I love you, so I try to suicide for you. And that is the form of my love to you. That's the death. No, that's the bad interpretation of Christ's death. Some theological interpretations of Christ, because he loved us too much, so he died. No. Christ never died. He gave us a new life. That is the point. Not because of his death, but after death. That is the truth. So the third point that is I mentioned, a question of duty and responsibility, because in the second part I will return back to the conception of responsibility, because I think that the true love has much to do with responsibility, but not with duty. Duty is obligation. Duty is unfree. So the definition of family and the division of the function of men and women in the past follows the pattern of duty. The man has to do that. The woman has to do that. The woman is belonging to the kitchen. And the work of man is to go outside to make money. That is the duty. But that's wrong. In family, in true love, there's no duty. Because if there's duty, there's no more freedom. And true love will come from freedom. So we return back to Peter. Jesus never asked him to love Christ is a duty. So he asked again and again. No, that is not a duty to love me. You love me because you find in you and in me the common factor of life. Because in me you find your own life. But if so, if you say so, oh, that is my duty to follow you, so you have the duty to pay for me, just like the master and the worker. I work for you, so you have to pay me a salary. No, not in this way. Many families end in this way. For example, in Germany, there's one time the wife asked salary from their husband. I am cooking for you, so you have to pay for me. If I don't cook for me, then you have to look for the cook outside, and you have to pay the same. So they asked him, if I give birth to a son to you, then you have to pay for me. How much do you have to pay for me? They make love as a duty in this sense. That you must do so. But after not, duty is not responsibility. Responsibility is what? No, you make what? If you ask me some question, I am responsible to answer. But someone outside and ask me a question, I have no responsibility to answer. I can answer, but I can refuse to answer too. The responsibility explains us some relationship, not on the term of duty, obligation, but of free. The freedom comes from our relationship. I can answer, I cannot answer, but in the same, because you are mine, because you are friend, so I have to answer. The difference here. This is not a duty, a responsibility. No, if marriage and function of men and women are just understood in terms of function, of duty, then I said it could make marriage just an instrument and no more. And the last point, that is the mistake of possession. I just ask you, who of us here can give us a definition of love? No one. But we often think love in terms of possession. Because she belongs to me, so that is love. She is mine, just I am hers. And what happened? If at the same time I have other feeling, if I love God, for example, zealous, because I am now belong to God and not to you more. No, that's some mistake ours, and even in our Catholic, when we say we love God, we belong to God, and no more for other things. That's the kind of thinking of possession. God never claimed to possess us. He gives us freedom. He let us free to decide. Look at Jesus. He never asked, you must love me only me. He never said that. But he said, love the other people. Look at other people, and you feed the one hunger, then that's you feed me. You take care of the homeless people, that means you take care of me. God never demand that you are his own and not belong to other. So we just explain term is that true love must be in terms of human life. But true love character is free, is freedom. So that's the point I just said. We have no duty. We have a responsibility. That's the point I will explain in the second part after the short discussion. And now we come to the last point. The last point I just said, the main purpose of the Papan and Silicon is to deal with the crisis of family, the crisis of marriage, the crisis of love in our society. But what is the true crisis? I come back from the last homosexuality. If homosexuality become common and generally accepted, and the majority of people who take the homosexuality as their own, that's what happened to life. In 50 years, the human race disappear. No more births. If the people try to cohabitate and to have a childless family, it's okay. But what happened to us in 40 years from now? I'm working now in a private university. The most concern now is to get students. Because the Taiwanese people don't want to give birth to children anymore. So we calculate that in 20 years, then there's a 50 university in Taiwan will be closed. Because there's no more children, no more students. So I just return back to the question, if the people know, they try to live together, but they don't want to have any child. What will happen after? Look at that. I think the crisis is that we will have no more life in the earth. So that is the, we are not against homosexuality. I have some sympathy for the people too. But just like sympathy to the handicapped. But I cannot think that that is the form of a new marriage, of a new family. I cannot accept that. Because what is that? It's against the main concept, life concept. Family, love, and especially love. It's love only because it's fruitful. It's given not, it protects not only your life, but it gives a birth to a new life, your own new life. That's the tradition of Confucius here. So when we come back to the message of the Pope, okay, the crisis now is homosexuality. The crisis of homosexuality says no more marriage, but a simple cohabitation. The second crisis is to treat love or to marriage as an instrument, just for modernity, and so on. And these are the shock of our culture, how to deal with. So I have tried to pinpoint the four main reasons of the development. Now we come back. How much time I have staying there? I am an old man now, almost 70 years old, and the old people try to speak very long. No end yet on. So I have to give 10 minutes. 10 minutes, okay. In 10 minutes, because you, Madam Louise asked me to pose some question for discussion. I said no, because I'm a free thinker. I don't want to impose any question on you. The question you have to look for yourself. But I have to make a resume of my first part. The first part, I try to pinpoint out the main source of crisis of marriage, also of family. And I think was the first one coming from the modern Trinity conception regarding marriage or the function of family man or woman in terms of instrument. And the main idea, the main philosophy behind is the ideology of utilitarianism. Whatever useful is good. And useful is understood in terms of instrument. If this means is effective, if this tool is okay to make this or make that, that is the first point I tried with. And I trace back from the 17th century when the people try to raise religion with science. The second point I try to explain that the illusion of love. That is the reaction against the instrumentality. But that's an overreaction. Because it is go over and is skip of the main purpose of love. The main purpose of love is life, and not a romantic story. Not just a kind of expression of feeling of affection, but something to do with our life. As the third one, I talk about the life. Then what is life? Life consists in just actuality of the life that we have to preserve to support life. Life is also to keep life longer, to prolong life, to make it eternal. So we have to give it to the new generation. What we will find in the Bible is the Exodus. The first book of the Old Testament to co-creation, or to be the image of God, as you have the ability God give us to be in the world and to give a new life, and also that. So life is to support, to prolong, and to make it better. And in this sense, I am aware of the danger of homosexuality or of pure cohabitation, because these two forms of new marriage or family cannot produce any new life. The UN and to make the end of humanity. That is the first part. And to conclude this part, I return back to the two answers in the two different questions and interpretation. On the field of the roof, the woman understood love in terms of instrument, but the man not. So he insists again, do you love me? Because he thinks in terms of that you are my life, and I am your life in this term. It's the second answer of Christ, or Peter to Christ. Then there is two parts. The first, Peter understood love in terms of instrument. The second, he got the message of God, and he understood love in terms of life. So if so, then you have already my answer to that. A true lover must be that life. And life is the foundation of marriage. Without this, there's just no marriage upon. Okay? And we have no, how long for the discussion? 1 hour. Okay,
the discussion group, we have about 40 minutes.
You have any question you can raise?
So now we can raise questions to Professor Doan. If anyone have a question, please raise your hand. If we have no question, then we go automatically into our small discussion group. And then the discussion group is already divided, and the list is posted where we, outside this breaking room, so we can go and look at your name and divide into your small group. So first of all, anyone have question?
Any question? You have my paper. My paper is very long, about 30 pages, and very difficult to read because even me, I couldn't read my own paper.
Yeah, that is.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Can we watch the movie?
Okay. Yes. Yes. You are. Yeah, of course. Okay. Okay. The movie, that's the story of one Jewish family who live in Ukraine. And they are very traditional. The marriage is arranged by matchmaker. But suddenly after 25 years, the children no longer accept matchmaker. They try to be independent and to try to look for own love. So they will try to think about this.
Do you love me?
Do I what?
Do you love me?
Do I love you?
Well,
With our daughters getting married and there's trouble in the town, you're upset, you're worn out. Go inside, go lie down. Maybe it's indigestion.
no, Golda, I'm asking you a question. Do you love me?
You're a fool.
I know. But do you love me?
Do I love you?
Well,
For 25 years I've washed your clothes, cooked your meals, cleaned your house, given you children, milked your cow. After 25 years, why talk about love right now?
Golda, the first time I met you was on our wedding day. I was scared.
I was shy.
I was nervous.
So was I.
But my father and my mother said we'd learn to love each other. And now I'm asking, Golda, do you love me?
I'm your wife.
I know. But do you love me?
Do I love him?
Well,
For 25 years I've lived with him, fought with him, starved with him. 25 years my bed is his. If that's not love, what is?
and you love me.
I suppose I do.
And I suppose I love you too. It doesn't change a thing, but even so, after 25 years,